going to try and record this. Yay, I can actually
record recording.
I'm super excited. I went through afterwards and like told my husband, I was like, oh, I cannot record anything. You please fix my computer. And I don't know what's really going on. My computer's old. It's a sweet little thing. So bless its heart. So we're probably going to have some more girls hop on, hopefully. But right now it's just Lauren and I talking. So I am happy that you're here, Lauren.
Yeah.
On the spot, A+ student. Check plus for you. Okay.
For today.
Yeah, for today. We're just going to own it today because that's what you are. You get the A+, you star student. But okay, so we've been talking about obviously working towards star, and I talked about our schedule and everything. And I always like to say that on Mondays, I always like to start with some kind of inspiration. And I've started reading this book that I'm really obsessed with. It's called Me, We, Do, Be. And I know it sounds like super funny, but it's amazing. And I always I'm looking for a source of inspiration or why I do what I do. And it told this really great story. So I know it's like kind of lame to read to you guys, but I'm going to
I don't find that lame.
Okay, good. But it's not a long story, but I just love this, and I think it's a great frame of reference as we start our call tonight. So it says, often our thinking comes down to two choices. I love the story about an elderly Cherokee's lesson to his grandson. The chief explains that there are two wolves inside of us. I love that Indians always use wolves. The chief explains there's two wolves inside of us, and they're in a battle. One is kind, loving, intelligent, forgiving, and full of joy. The other is full of darkness, ignorance, hate, and anger, and envy. The grandson thinks about this for a while, and then he turns to his grandfather and says, Grandpa, which wolf wins? To which the wise great chief replied, the one that you feed. And I was like, oh, that's so good. Yeah. And so good. And our own, that's what I love about my Selling Up business is that it challenges me, not obviously for the business side of it, but also just the personal side of it. Like
personal, yeah, for sure.
What am I feeding in my life? Whatever I am giving attention to, it can be the negativity. It can be everything that's going wrong in my business. It can be the fact that I've not sponsored yet this month and I said I was going to sponsor 4, or it can be the fact that I stuck to my schedule today and I checked things off my list and I've got 3 bookings on the calendar for February. What are you feeding? And whatever you're feeding is what you're going to start becoming. And so I love that. It was such a great frame of reference. And if we on this call and on our team want to be leaders and want to be stars, then that's what we need to start feeding. And so when we're working towards star, even though we're not at star, we are going to act like we are. We're going to act like the position that we want to become. So we've set goals. That was y'all's challenge last week. This week, you guys are blocking out your time, and I'm loving seeing that. And so, we have a goal, we have a schedule, and now we need to figure out how we're going to start doing the thing that we want to be doing. And so our topic tonight is about booking and sponsoring with consistency. And so obviously we need to talk about that. That's going to take a lot of practice and a lot of consistency. It's what I've really been trying to work on with my business, and it's what I want to challenge you guys to do, which is why I've kind of put the scheduling into place for y'all. But consistency, it all comes down to habits and what habits you have in your life. And so the truth is that the reason we have habits is because they actually physiologically save energy for our brain. So think about it this way, like when you first learn to ride a bike or you've watched your children learn to ride a bike, it takes a ton of concentration. Their hands are gripped, they are like eyes on the prize. Okay, but if you've been riding a bike for 30 odd years, then you can ride maybe with no hands, you can talk on the phone, you can do all kinds of things while you're riding a bike that you couldn't do when you're learning. Because when you're learning, your brain is using all its sensory images to store that habit and that memory. But then when you become good at it, then it becomes something that's just automatic, and it technically becomes a habit. So But our brain does not distinguish between good habits and bad habits, which is why I went on the Whole30, because I had a really bad habit of what foods I was choosing. And we're going to talk about food in a second, but my brain is not going to tell me what a good habit is and what a bad habit is. And so the only way to get rid of the bad is actually you can't just stop it. You have to replace it with something good. So you have to replace all of these bad habits with actual good habits. And a habit is made up of three things. Okay, so a habit has three parts. It has a trigger, it has a ritual or a routine, and then it has a reward. So there's three parts to habit: trigger, a ritual, a routine, and a reward. So think about it this way, like, I don't know, I have food on my brain, so let's talk about food. Okay, so the trigger is hunger. So I feel hungry, that is the trigger. That's not something I can control. That just is automatic. It's what happens. My ritual is that I go into my pantry, I get up from my desk, I go into my pantry, and I look for a snack. And then my reward is that I eat said snack or meal and I feel full. Okay? So in that, the trigger, the ritual, and the reward, the only part of that we can actually change is that ritual in the middle.
Right.
There's always going to be a trigger and there's always going to be a reward. But that ritual in the middle is what we can change. So like, for instance, with food, that's what I've been doing with the Whole30. I've just switched my routine or my ritual. So instead of, I have the trigger, I'm still get hungry. So, but instead of choosing the sweet food, I choose the healthy food. I choose the carrots instead of the brownie. I really want the brownie, but I'm trying to retrain my mind. And so, and oftentimes when we just change that one ritual, it oftentimes has a ripple effect through the rest of our life. Or in this case, what we're going to be talking about is the rest of our business. So what I want you guys to do, like for y'all, is going to be think about, even though some of you have been stylists for years and some of you have been stylists for weeks or even months, there is inevitably some type of habit that you have fallen into. And it is either a habit of when you are reaching out and you're reaching out the first time and you get a no, and or an objection, and your first instinct is to say, okay, thank you, I'll reach back out later, instead of trying to respond to that objection and still work towards the booking. Same with sponsoring. Your habit might be to cherry pick the people that you're reaching out to, instead of being like, I'm not going to cherry pick. I am literally going to go down the list. I'm going to reach out to every single person, regardless of what I think they might need or want. Okay. So I want you to think about in your business, or you have set work time, but the second that something pops into your mind, you're easily distracted, and there is some kind of trigger that happens. It's a time of day, or it's a song that you hear, or somehow you get distracted, and you give in to that distraction, and that is creating a bad habit. And then you never go and complete the task that you were completing. Mm-hmm. So I want you to think about what's happening in your work time. So we set aside work time, during that hour and a half. What are those habits that maybe you're starting to build some bad habits in the building of your business? And what can you do to change that? Like, what would that look like? Is it something as simple as I need to be more consistent? Is it as simple as I accept a no too quickly? But I loved what Tiffany Aguilera, I was telling, I got to talk to Christine Taylor today, and we were talking on the phone, and I told her that I got the opportunity to ride in the car. I always want to call her Christina Aguilera, but it's actually Tiffany Aguilera.
I have called her Christina before.
Totally. Yeah. And she's blonde and little and petite, so like whatever. And so we were talking about it, and everyone asks her all the time, how in the world have you grown this? She's been a stylist 2 years. Mm-hmm. And this coming fiscal year, she will make 6 figures. So for those of you that think, I can't be successful as XYZ or yada, 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 because they got into it early. No.
No.
It's not like that, which is why we
that
don't.
Doesn't matter.
Right. And it's not a pyramid. It's why it's exactly not a pyramid scheme, because you can go build your businesses bigger, as quicker, as faster, as slower.
Right.
So my phone is like blowing up. So she was saying, she said, everybody always asks me and they want to know like what specific words I'm saying, what the words, and she talked about the fact that her words to say are super simple. And I've shared some of her words to say with you guys. She shared them on the Gemstone page. And she said, but the truth is, Callie, you know what I'm doing? Every Monday, Sunday night, I start my list, and every Monday, I reach out to 30 people for sponsoring, which is about 120 a month that she is reaching out to for sponsoring. We said, okay, well, who are you reaching out to? How do you come up with that list? She said, everyone that has spent $95 with me in the past 60 days, every single hostess. I've gone through my husband's friends on Facebook. I've gone through my friends on Facebook, people that I have run into. I mean, she said, and I'm continuing to book trunk shows, so I have more people to be reaching out to. Right. And she said, I don't have a secret sauce. I'm just, and so Danielle Redner was like, you mean to tell me that you're just consistent and you just do it all the time? And she said, I've just built a habit to where if I'm not doing it, something feels like it's missing.
Right.
And so she said, and I just started to think about this practice of building habits and where in our business do we need to be focusing on a habit and making it work for us. And what ritual are we doing that we need to maybe break out of? And then just thinking about it, are those habits that I'm doing, are they matching my goal to be a star? Mm-hmm. And I thought about that today. I made this list and I showed you guys on Marco Polo of my list of things that I need to do today. And I was done working and literally sat down at 8. I was done by 11:30. I was done. So 3.5 hours I worked on my business, and then I worked on our, home and got stuff done around the house. And I literally told myself today, like, damn, you were good. I would hire you today. Like you worked really good, because those 3.5 hours, I was completely zoned in. I got my tasks completed. I checked them off the list. And because I have a huge goal and a huge thing that I'm reaching for. And so I'm going to accept that for today. But I'm not saying I'll be perfect every day. And I wasn't necessarily perfect, but I did the things I wanted to do. So, I mean, Lauren, like we're talking about this, like you tell me, like as you're listening to me talk about habits and stuff, like hey Kim, what do you think? Like, what are you seeing, you think in your business that has maybe become a habit?
A bad habit?
A bad habit.
I mean, definitely what you said about like being picky and choosy about, I mean, literally just today, I said on Marco Polo, I was going to sit at my blowout and I was going to follow up with some people. I was also going to try and talk to the girl that owns the blow dry bar, my friend, and then my friend that went with me. I talked to my friend that, went with me, which I had already talked to her, obviously about doing a show. Hey, Kim.
Hey, Kim.
I'm late.
So with her, she needs to get with her husband, because I didn't realize, I have not caught up with her in forever. Her husband's teaching a course at A&M now. And so she said, I'm pretty sure that Thursday and Fridays are open. I just want to make sure before I give you an exact date. So I'm definitely getting a date on the calendar with her. And then the blow dry bar, the thing I'm running into was, it's a franchise, so there are certain franchise rules and different things like that.
Okay.
And because she's so new and she just opened, I think they're not quite there yet, but it's something that she wants to do, which is exciting. But getting back to what you were talking about, I was sitting there with that tracker after I talked to the two of them, and I literally found myself being picky and choosy about who I was following up with. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't just running down my list the way I did the first time. Like, I was going back and I'm like, well, you know what? This person is probably not ever going to text me back. Like, but this person, I feel like they'll respond.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with them.
Yeah. And so I ended up like going back to like 10 people and doing my second touch, and, you know, only one of them responded. So I'm like, why do I do that?
Yeah.
Like, why do I talk myself out
Sorry,
of...
my husband just walked in from...
Oh, and he's been gone.
Long time. You want to say hi?
Oh, sure.
He literally just walked in.
Welcome home.
Hi. Okay. The kids are waiting upstairs for their prizes.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, why do I do that? Why? Because even, I mean, just one person responded, you know, to Touch 2 after I was like picky and choosy about who I was, you know, following up with. So I'm like, why not just go down the list, and why not just do the Touch 2? And because it's like I said, I'll be the first one to say I have not been consistent with my 10-4 tracker the way that I should be as far as booking goes. Like, I more so just start thinking in my head, oh, well, maybe I'll reach out to this person, or, you know, maybe I haven't thought about this person. And so the idea of like setting hours and having a calendar and, you know, specific working hours and things like that, I think will really help me, because I am not organized. Like, I'm just not. And now that I have like 3, you know, or 4 people on my team, it's so overwhelming. And I know, I mean, I shouldn't let it do that, but that becomes overwhelming, and I start in my own mind, start thinking of all the things, all the time. I don't just compartmentalize, you know, one thing at a time and focus the way I should. So, for me, consistency is just huge. I mean, like, I'm so glad that Tiffany said that, because, I mean, you're always thinking of people like Tiffany Aguilera and Mackenzie Hollick, and what are they doing to have been in this business for such a short time, but built it to something huge, in random West Texas, you know. I love that she said, literally, I'm consistent. I mean, and consistency is key.
Yeah. And Kim, you'll have to go back and watch the beginning of the video, but we were talking about habits, and how what habits we have in our business that maybe aren't great habits that could be affecting and kind of holding us back, and could we replace those habits with healthier habits for us, and just about consistency, and how some of the top sponsors and sellers in our company that have been in the business for 2 years or less, earning 6 figures. So they didn't get in 7 or 8 years ago, like when Tish Meffer did. But Tiffany Aguilera was saying, I'm just consistent. I literally reach out to 30 people every Monday for sponsoring. And so I totally feel you. I get to those people on my list that I just skip over. And actually today it takes so much more effort and so much more energy to cherry pick. It really does. If it is just as simple as go to your orders, filter it by the last 60 days, export those babies, pop them into a spreadsheet, and start down the list, then you're not spending your time assuming you know what stage of life or situation or whatever that person is in. You're just reaching out to them. And it doesn't mean that your reach out isn't authentic or isn't genuine. These people, and that's what I love about her first words to say, which is like, hey, your love for the product got me thinking. I'm just curious to know if you'd be open to the idea of hearing what it's like to be a stylist. For what it's worth, I think you'd really love this little side hustle. And it's just that simple. And if somebody says, no, thank you so much. You're so sweet. I'm completely not interested. Then you know what to respond with, which is very similar to the booking no, which is like, I run a small business and I'm so thankful for your support. And if you ever know anyone that's looking for something, I'd love to chat with them. It's a very graceful no. You
Right.
have that. You have the tools. Like, and in fact, if we're going to sponsor 1 out of every 10 we talk to, then we actually expect a no more than a yes. And
Absolutely.
so I mean, if you kind of take that mysteriousness out of it and you just think of it from I am a small business owner and I am working my business. And if somebody has a problem with that, then you've got a problem with a lot of women in America.
Yeah.
I mean, think about your blow dry bar girl that is literally starting with 0 clients. I mean, there's no difference between her and your business, except you take the business you get to give, free things away. And I actually partnered with Pure Barre here when they first came out, Lauren. It was the first Pure Barre here out in Katy. And she told me the same thing. She's like, I really want to do it, but I have to check with corporate to see if it's allowed. And she asked, and about a week later, she emailed me back and she said, I asked, and yes, we're good. And I brought some champagne. And what I did was I offered, I told her that I could fill 2 classes with because it was brand new and everybody was going to love it. So I was like, if you want to do a discounted class or do a free class, I will fill it. And I got 40 people there, 20 in each class, from just emailing out to my customer base and social media, and because it was a free class. And then she got members to sign up, and I sold about $1,200 that night. I actually sponsored Samantha Plomer is on our team because I met her at Pure Barre. So, I mean, you can think about that too, just saying, hey, would you want to do some type of girls' night out? And I will market it to all my customers. I already have a couple hundred customers here in College Station, and you offer them some kind of discount, and maybe you do free shipping that night or whatever, and do a little girls' night out at the end. Just say, I'm going to help you market this. I'm going to market to all my customers. That's what I told her. It's like, I have customers that are already here that I can get there. So, but I think the cherry picking thing, Christine Taylor was saying that today about booking and sponsoring. I do it with booking too. I just kind of like, well, I don't know. She's totally going to say no. She looks super busy on Facebook. She probably doesn't have time, whatever it is. I just make stuff up, and it takes more effort and more time than it does just to go through the list and reach out.
It's so helpful to know that y'all do this too.
Oh my God.
We judge everybody.
But it's not
it's human nature.
Yeah. But the funny part is that could you not look at your life, Lauren, and your life, Kim, and think, oh, someone could have easily said, she's got 3 kids. She has this going on. She probably, her husband travels or whatever. I mean, I had 4 kids, 5 and under, and did a trunk show. 15 people showed up, and I didn't even sell $500 at my trunk show. It was barely qualified. I bought myself a pair of sparkle studs to get my show to $500. But Sarah did not judge the fact that I had terrible trunk show sales and that I had 4 children. And she said, I think you should do this. I mean, no one had ever even mentioned to me. And I went to bed that night and I told Chris, I was like, she said she thinks I could do this. And he was like, well, I don't know, how much is it? Like $199. He's like, who cares? Do it. I'm like, all right. I was like, I might suck. And he's like, I bet you're not going to suck, but just try it. And literally, y'all, like, my neighbors didn't shop with me. My mom shopped and my best friend shopped. And then Chris Smith bought some earrings. I mean, like, so if somebody had judged me, they would have been like, oh, Callie's got twins and a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. No way.
Or you could just guilt your family members into doing it. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
You could totally guilt your family members into signing up.
There you go. That's what happened to you right there.
I mean, and then they could say, I have no intention of selling ever. You never know.
You're like, yeah, exactly. I mean, and you said no. I mean, you were like, well, I mean, you didn't say no. You said yes to help your sister-in-law out, right?
Yes.
But you would have never done this, right? And so I just think you could, no. So you can talk yourself out of anything, but is that habit and is that action going to get you to where you want to go? Because you girls want to be stars, and if that is what your goal is, then you need to run everything through this filter of, is what I'm doing, is this action that I'm taking or inaction that I'm not taking, is that going to get me to where I want to go? Because if I'm going to be a star, I need to act like a star 2 or 3 or 4 months before I actually achieve that star pay rank. And because then when I achieve that star pay rank, it's going to be sustainable and it's going to be legitimate and I'm going to be able to stay there and it's going to feel awesome. And so, are you I just want you guys to pay attention as you're doing things. And, like Kim, you're super new. And so, but I can already tell that you're already like, I'm already cherry picking. Like you just immediately start these habits that, a year down the road when you're like, why isn't my business growing? It's going to be because you put into place these habits that probably weren't healthy for your business, like
Right.
prejudging or the not being consistent, not setting a schedule. I've seen it happen time and time again. And so I don't know if that's helpful to you guys. So it's not about, I can't stress this enough. Like there are no magic words. You cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. You just can't. But you will 100% never book a trunk show with a person that you don't ask. And you will never grow a team without asking people and letting them know talking about the opportunity. It's never going to happen. So if you're not talking about it and you're not asking, then it's not going to happen. So,
So I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
So what do you do first? Do you reach out about hosting or do you reach out about the opportunity? What do you do first? Because clearly you probably cherry pick a little bit when you ask about sponsoring a tad, right?
Well, I have 2 different lists going.
Okay.
So I do, y'all have seen my spreadsheet. I've shared it with you guys. I have I have 101 people on my, my booking list. And I think I have maybe 30 on my potential stylist list.
Okay.
So, now, if all of those people that I book trunk shows with, I'm offering the stylist opportunity to them. Right. So they might move to the one list. And obviously if somebody's telling me no about becoming a stylist, I'm going to offer the host. That's my second ask, is the hostess opportunity. But I definitely do, because most of the people on my sponsoring list are either very recent shoppers. Like a lot of my bookings right now are people that shopped with me this time last year. And I know that's not super helpful for you, Kristen, or really even you, Lauren. Well, you've been a year, Lauren?
No, June.
June. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. June. So maybe even, you going back that far in your orders,
Right.
Lauren. And I know, you're still building, Kim, you're still building your business. So, at the beginning, I shared about it so much on social media, and I talked about it I promise at like every gymnastics class, every baseball game, because people would be like, so what have you been up to? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I started this fun business. It's my fun little side hustle. And I just sponsored through conversation because I was literally so excited about it. And I was sharing about it all the time. And so a lot of those conversations kind of happen naturally. I feel like now I have to work a little bit more because, it's not as new. It's not as fresh and new. And people aren't as like curious about it because they expect me to be the Stella Dot girl. But to answer your question, I do have 2 different lists and they're fluid. So they might bounce back and forth, but I do run 2 different lists.
Okay. Yeah. Actually today I did 4 reach outs just on sponsoring alone.
Okay.
But I will say that after I sent all that stuff out, and each one was individual. They were completely personal reach outs.
Okay.
After that, I read Tiffany's post and her words to say and how it's like nice and super short and sweet, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
yes, that makes total sense. It should have been concise and let them ask me for more. But, live and learn. I'll
That's
make it
okay.
short next time on my follow-up.
Kim, when did you sign up?
No, the end of November.
Okay. The fact that it is January, 23rd, and you're having and sending sponsoring conversations
It's awesome.
That's amazing, because literally I signed up I guess I signed up on June 30th, and did not have a sponsoring conversation until October.
Well,
There you go.
it's because
I
you
mean-
guys keep talking about how great it is, and so I want a piece of that action.
Yeah, girl. Well, I mean, and the fact that you're like in a star group and so super new,
I'm gonna get there. Y'all are gonna help me.
is awesome.
Oh, by
Yeah,
the way,
absolutely.
Lauren's my pacing partner. Yay!
Yeah.
I totally
Yes.
asked her out.
Wait, you asked Lauren?
Lauren.
He asked
she's
me
my
I
out.
love it. Yeah, I love it. That's awesome.
Yes, and what's funny is Giselle your sponsor?
She is.
Okay, she messaged me too, and I was like, well, let's just get a group. Let's do
You
it.
should. It works.
Yes.
Everybody wants to be Lauren.
Lauren's like, well, I'm taken, but
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I have enough love to go around.
there you go.
Plenty to share. So that's really, and I think I could sit here on this call and I could feed you guys all of the words to say I've ever said reaching out and what I think is the best for this and that, and what day and how many hours to wait and how. But the truth is that none of that even matters if you're not consistent with your business. And so and building and paying attention to how you respond to an objection. And I mean, I'm available to you guys, like text it to me. Hey, I got this objection, how it helped me handle this. The only way you're going to know. That's what I did with Sarah and Kelly Wenzel and Allie Santano when I was a new stylist. I was sending them messages all the time, like, what would you say to this? What would you say to this? Until I had the confidence and felt capable enough to do it myself. And now I help you guys with that. And so, that's what I would rather help you guys with, because y'all know how to reach out. And Kim, exactly what you're saying, like just keeping it totally short and sweet. Like I noticed your love for the product. I'm just, I thought about you and just wondering if you'd be open to the idea of hearing what it's like to be a Stella Dot stylist. For what it's worth, I think you'd be really awesome.
Yeah.
That's literally what I sent to, I think I sent it out to 5 people today. That was my goal today, to do 5 sponsoring conversations today. I heard back from one, and she said she was wanted to have a baby, and she said, definitely keep me in mind for the future. That's what she said. But we're thinking about having our second baby. She's a former teacher, but I'm thinking, okay, you have to get pregnant. Then it's 10 months of baking the baby. So that's when I messaged her back. I'm like, girlfriend, and, I totally get that. And she said, I would have 2 kids, under 3. I'm like,
You're
okay,
like, I have 4 live babies.
yeah. I was like, well, I mean, I had 4 3 and under. So, no, but I said, I totally get you. And I said, but what are you going to do with all that spare time while you're baby making? Plus, I said, what if you decorated the whole what if you just made it your goal to make enough money to decorate the nursery? And I said, it could be your little side hustle and you're a little excuse to make daddy do bedtime while you're fat and pregnant. And she said, you know what? That's actually a really good idea. Give me a couple of days to think about it and reach back out to me.
Nice.
Said, okay. And then I messaged another girl, very similar words to say that I just told you guys. And she was a Facebook hostess with me about a year ago. And I think she's in Georgia, and she would be awesome. And we need stylists in Georgia. And so, I have no idea. I haven't talked to her about it. And
well, you just never know. I mean, it's like the girl Rebecca that literally I mentioned it to her back in August. I mean, literally 2 months. I say that I didn't have a conversation until October, but I did in August. Messaged her after she attended a Facebook show because she just literally commented on every one of my posts. She liked everything. She bought stuff and was like, I'm waiting for my next paycheck. I'm going to buy something else. You could just tell she was very eager. And so I messaged her and I was like, you love this. You should do what I do. And because I am a failure at the 10-4 tracker, I never followed back up with her. But lo and behold, January rolls around. I see a random person on my list of stylists, and I'm like, who is this? Then she friended me on Facebook and was like, hey, remember when I went to your Facebook show and you asked me about being a stylist? Well, I just decided now is the time.
She just signed up?
Yes.
You didn't even follow up back
I
with
didn't follow up with
Oh
her,
my
and she
gosh.
signed up.
But you did talk with her the first time. You didn't follow up.
Yeah.
No,
You did reach out to her. and
I did reach out to her, and
Exactly.
that is awesome.
she
You
is
planted the seed.
she's
Yep.
going through IVF, and she wants the money to
Yep.
aid in her IVF journey, which is, I mean, what a story, what a why, you know.
Yeah.
So
And
that's,
so-
I mean, you never know.
Yeah, Jessica Heron talks all the time. She's like, well, Danielle said, I'm pretty sure we've funded one entire ride at Disney World with all of the stylists that are taking there. And we have a lot of Stella babies that
Yes.
we have paid for, which is really fun. So, and you're right. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, people might tell you no now. That's why I love my spreadsheet. I used to do pen and paper, and you guys, the paper was out of control.
I need to get on board with the spreadsheet because that's
I
amazing.
was not, and I'm a pen and paper, I'm a calendar girl, like a pen and paper calendar girl, but I switched my reach outs to spreadsheet, and I love it because I will save it. I'll just put it in a different tab, different months, and I can go back and see. And I mean, you just don't, you never know. And that's why I don't get sad if somebody says, just not right now. I'm okay with that. Even for booking, I'm okay with that. You guys saw my list, and I showed you on the thing today, all the yellows that I got to follow back up with. That's great. That's just filling my pipeline. That's what I want, because guess what? The next time I reached out to them, I've already warmed them up. So it's like, hey, got my calendar. What date do you want? Like, I'm not going through. The second and third follow-ups are so much easier,
Yeah. Hey, did you get my message?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I sent today. That was my third follow-up today. Hey girl, happy Wednesday. I think it said just following back up, I think is all it says. It was so easy. I mean, it literally, I was going to look for it.
Yes, go back to bed.
Oh, that's what it says. Hey girl, still thinking of you and wanted to touch base. Happy Wednesday, XOXO Callie. That was my next reach out. No, the lighting's not good, but I was showing you. That's what it says. I mean, totally easy. So anyways, I hope that makes you guys just kind of think a little bit about what habits you're starting to fall into. Pay attention to that. When you're cherry picking, when you very quickly back down, when you maybe start comparing what other people are doing versus what you're doing. And I mean, what of those things is going to none of that's going to get you to where you want to be. And so paying attention to that. So I don't know if I feel like the color on my camera just changed. Do you feel like I changed colors? I don't know.
It looks a little gray.
Right. Since I showed y'all this.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Anyways. Okay. So I don't know if that's helpful at all. And Kim, I'm sorry that you missed the beginning part, but
Yeah,
you can.
I'm sorry.
I talked about Tiffany Aguilera and her, but you can go back and watch. I recorded it this time. Do you have any other questions?
I don't know right now.
No.
Okay. Well, y'all.
Oh,
What?
did y'all see Mackenzie Hollick sing?
Oh,
Mine-
no. I haven't been able to watch that yet, that post.
Mind blown.
Okay, I'll go watch it right now.
Like, mind blown. I have no other words.
Blown. Totally blown. I mean, I didn't like major guts.
There is no vulnerability like singing on Facebook.
Nobody wants to hear me singing.
Oh, no.
I mean, but side note, have y'all heard Jenny Eiseminger sing?
Mm-mm.
No. But I knew that she could sing.
amazing. Like, amazing. I was like, I texted her today, I'm like, you should be the one singing that song. Like, you're
Yeah.
amazing. Or you should be someone singing. She was like, girl, I don't sing on Facebook.
She needs to just come up with her own song. She can
Right.
do it.
Right. So anyways, okay, y'all, thank you so much for jumping in. And you guys have till the end of the week. I think, Kim, you already did yours too. Both of y'all have already done your schedules for the week. I hope that helps you start building some good habits and some healthy habits. Pay attention to the times, and y'all talk about in your pacing group. That's a really good question to start asking each other. Like, hey, what habits are you building this week? And what are you seeing that's a good habit, and what are you seeing that's not a good habit that we need to break? That's a really good, pacing question to ask. Another fun one.
We need to start our own little small Marco Polo, Kim.
Yeah. Another one to ask that we did at Director's Retreat is, and maybe you would just do this maybe once a week or something, but to answer this sentence, if you really knew me, you would know that. And then you answer that question. That was a really intense opening to Director's Retreat, where people were standing up and saying, if you really knew me, you would know that, I come from an abusive relationship, or I, struggle with acceptance, or, whatever it was like,
That is intense.
some serious vulnerability. That's how our Director's Retreat.
That's deep.
Danielle Redner was the first one to stand up and talk about some stuff happening in her life, and she started crying, and everybody was like, I cried all morning, and then we got into training in the afternoon, but it was just a really interesting exercise. And she said that's how they start every one of their board meetings. When the board gets together with Stella and Dot, they go around the room, and they all say, if you really knew me, you would know.
Wow.
Right?
But talk about a way, that's like a way to get to know people. Like, that's amazing.
Exactly. So anyways, okay, thank y'all for jumping on, and I'm going to go save this recording and post it. Okay. Bye, y'all.